won't talk about it until you say your catchphrase.
I figured what I'll do is I'll cut out this part and put that as our at the end of the video as the behind the scenes.
There, yes, that's what I was trying to get you to do from the beginning was record everything and then just have the extras either at the end or just like a
Somewhere.
separate thing, having it as uh, if you want to see the before talk or after talk discussions.
We were talking about Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast, Thor.
Oh, okay.
Did
And
you hear about
Did you
that?
guys see the latest post about how they're going to pump out more stuff?
oh yeah, I just saw
That's
that there. So I didn't know Hasbro actually acquired in '99 Wizards of the Coast, and DeHoffer was asking me like, "Oh, I need to put that as a main screen." Sorry, DeHoffer, and I'll have to see if I can cut that out. So now we're gonna start from here. I didn't have a full screen on the video capture,
Oh.
so he was asking me what I thought about Hasbro acquiring them, and if I liked that, and I say yes.
I say no.
I say I have no preference.
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, I remember the acquisition back when they did it, and there was a big worry because Wizards was a small portion of their profit that they were going to be just sort of, pushed aside. And for many years, they haven't been given a lot of attention. And I know a lot of people don't like the fact that they are acquired, but in this latest earnings call they did just a few days ago, as a matter of fact, they said they're going to put more focus on Wizards of the Coast, and they're going to do more cadence on pumping out more material. So they're finally getting the focus. They're finally recognizing, and then the fact that they approved another D&D movie, I think it helps solidify that they're shifting and giving them more. They're realizing there's a market there. So I'm kind of liking it now. I didn't like it before.
I still Chaz has made a couple of good points about it, but my thing about it was yeah, we're gonna get the movies, we're gonna get more action figures, more collectibles out of it, which I'm all about the merchandise of it. But my worry is they're gonna start trying to monetize it too much, and we're already getting so many. There's like what 3 books right now that are available for pre-order that haven't come out. They're pumping out more and more books, and they're not even ready to have. What are they going to do? Is my fear is they're going to start every month, every other week, bring out a new book, and the system's going to be affected. The mechanics are going to be affected because they're more worried about getting the books out, getting the product out there, than they are about the quality and what people like about it. Is my worry.
I have to be honest with you, they did this in 3.0, and when they went to 3.0, they were pumping out books left and right, and they did exactly what you said. I mean, so what you said is correct. However, I think they learned from that because but the repercussions of doing that, they broke the game. It bloated so bad. And that was the first time that D&D wasn't the most popular role-playing game because Pathfinder took over. And so there was the first time since D&D began, it wasn't the number one RPG since 1974 because they made that move.
Was
they
that
did
4.0
that.
or 3.0?
I'm sorry, 4.0.
Okay,
but what happened was when they did 3.0, it was right in that transition because that's when Pathfinder started. They went to 3.5. Pathfinder stayed at 3.0. And then at that point, the game got so bloated, they tried to reset the game and go to 4.0. But they were already losing people to Pathfinder. So at that point, that just did more damage to them. But that pinnacle of fall was from the 3.0 era, the 3.5 era.
So the thing I was looking at was I was telling DeHoffern about was when you look at a company like Hasbro taking over, one of the big companies that really got me disheartened that was bankrupt was Toys R Us, and I think Toys R Us had a great business model in the sense of like they had exclusives like DeHoffrin and Draco are are Pokemon fans through and through since day one, right? I just got onto the bandwagon like 3 or 4 years ago with Pokemon Go. But I was telling
I think you're more
Hoffman
now
about
than I
the
am now.
Pikachu exclusive to Nintendo 64 console. They actually had a Pikachu on the 64, like the console itself. I think that was. I know it's an exclusive for one branch. Just for sake of argument, I think it was Toys R Us. We'll just call it Toys R Us. If it's not, I don't care. But to prove my point, Toys R Us had exclusive items. Only you could get that item at Toys R Us. Nerf guns, I know for a fact. You wanted that one Nerf gun? You had to go to Toys R Us. And when DeHoffrin saw, he pulled up on eBay because he was like, yeah, I hadn't heard of that. Well, let me actually see what that looks like. Now he's on the verge of spending a lot of money and buying one because he wants a Pikachu on the 64. So I like the fact that like Toys R Us had those exclusive deals, but the problem was that the shareholders would not budge off their pricing model. And the fact they were losing market share to Walmart, to local grocery stores, which people think toys aren't that big a deal, but you want mom to shop at your store, you have to have toys. I mean, you have 4 kids, and you're a kid yourself, Thor. When your wife went to the store with the kids, toys were a big deal, right? So they didn't. I like the fact that Hasbro took over because a lot of people don't realize how close TSR was to going out of business. They weren't doing great. Second edition went on for too long. It went on for what, 20 years before they finally went to 3.0?
It wasn't. No, I don't think it was that long.
I thought
it was long though. Second edition came out. Maybe it was the late 80s.
Late 80s.
I don't remember the year.
So
yeah, I don't remember the year.
We'll call it 10 plus years. 3.0 came out in what, 2000, 2002-ish? 2000?
Yeah, it might have been 2000
adults,
or
yeah.
1999.
Yeah, so it was
We
like
were
about a
adults,
decade.
so it had to come. Yeah, we were adults, so it was basically
We weren't
after high school.
adults because your cousin tried to get us into it. One guy on our channel, Jake, he tried to get us into it, and we just told him no. Then another person got us into it. We started 3.5, not 3.0. But I like the fact that Hasbro is going to keep my company alive. So, yay Hasbro!
And I'll give you that. They're in there. They're keeping it alive. And like I said,
when you churn out that shit movie, D&D movie, I'm going to unfortunately have to buy it and watch it. It's going to be garbage. I know it is, but I don't care. I got to watch it.
And Hasbro's already
That's
turning out some cool stuff, like my unboxing video of my Drizzt's action figure with Panther.
You still can't say his name right.
Dritz.
And what's the
that's
name of
exclusive to Hasbro.
Of his animal companion?
Panther.
Panther?
No, it's
Go ahead.
Guinevere. I can't pronounce it, but I know it's Guinevere.
And how many of the books have you read so far?
I have all the books.
No, I didn't ask what you had. I asked what you read.
I'm still working on it. I've already pre-ordered his girlfriend, Kitty Pryde.
His girlfriend.
Canterbury.
And I'm hoping, because they've got him and his girlfriend, that the next figure that they're gonna do, keep pointing up there. The next figure they're gonna do is the Panther as a statue.
Guinevere. Sorry, I know all those things.
It's not. It's his husband has chastised him for not knowing the names. He was like, I'm doing this unboxing because I'm an expert. His husband's like, you're not an expert. You never read the books. I'm not a big Drizzt fan. I mean, I know of Dritz. I've played him in games. I've read about him, but I'm not a big fan. He's just a ranger, a drow ranger. Whoop-de-doo.
Everything I've heard is people keep on talking about how awesome the books are and his storyline.
Yeah, I'm telling you right now, if you've never read a book on Dritz at all, like pick up Sojourn. Like that's it. Like I picked up Sojourn. That was the first. I think one of the first ones, and they brought out many years ago, and that was it. Like it opened up a world about D&D that. Talking about the Drow and Menzo Berenzin and the Underdark and all that. Like, it was stuff like that didn't really exist. And so that was the first book on it. And he was just the most awesome swordsman ever, and just his life as a slave, and it was just a really captivating story. And then he tries to escape from the Underdark, and so it's just this process that he goes through. It's a great story. I couldn't put it down. I just kept reading his books because of that. So
they are great stories from everything people that tell me, and he is popular because that unboxing video I did that has the most comments that I've received out of any of the videos that I've done.
Five.
Still the most. On my Facebook page, I've posted that video there too, and that one's got like 20. So, yeah. But quick shout out to Neen, and I cannot pronounce her name correctly, and I apologize.
Was I supposed to record this?
Nienora. She was commenting on my video, and she was talking about how she was upset that they didn't make a Guinevere statue, so she actually painted her own and made it next to her statue. And I shout out to her for talking about it, and I asked her, and if you're listening, I want to see a picture. Post a picture so I can see the awesome job you did on the Panther.
All right. Let's go ahead and start this. We got to get off this nonsense, talk on some other nonsense, Mr. Shoutouts. You already take forever in your sign-offs. All right. What it do? It's that time again for everyone to gain experience points because the party is about to gain those experience points. And we tried this before where I point down and point over, but everyone's screen's different. So that is who?
The side where nobody's at.
That'd be funny. That would be funny.
I'm assuming you're trying to point to Draco.
There's literally my fingers pointing directly where I want it to go.
On our screen, you're pointing to nothing, but on yours,
you're pointing to nothing. Draco's above me.
Yeah,
Draco's above you. Okay,
right.
So
I'm right below you, and
he's to the left of me. Right.
So if you're new to this show. Welcome to our podcast. The professionalism, the preparedness, the script. We are professionals. Someone will pay us.
Yeah.
All right. Whoever's next to me, the left or right, you go first. Who are you?
Not here.
He's muted.
That's you.
He's muted.
I'm not muted.
He's talking to you, Draco.
Hey, can you hear
Hi.
me?
He's not here.
Can you hear me?
Can't hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Thank you. Nah, man. Okay, so the iPhone 11, right? My AirPods aren't working no more. Like, I can hear you, but y'all can't hear me. I have to constantly disconnect and reconnect my Bluetooth over and over again. Very irritating.
Okay, so that is...
This is Draco, the one and the only, as usual. I know you're listening. I'm the only one.
And in the pink shirt, as always...
DeHoffrin.
And our guest speaker today is...
Thor.
Hey! We kind of did it. All right. So, like always, because we are a bunch of people who have probably undiagnosed ADD. One of us is diagnosed. One of us is waiting to be diagnosed. The other two are actually really smart and just slum it with us. They're going to. We always ask the question, "What tickles your fancy?" So. Let's just go ahead and let's ask Thor what tickles his fancy, because we know Draco's not prepared.
Never prepared.
Watching the trailer to a game, he only saw the link, but not the video. So hey, Thor, what do you got going on? What makes you happy right now? Like what's tickling you?
Well, something I think that me and you have had a conversation about.
Oh, shit.
And it was Ryan, my son, went ballistic on WizKids stuff. And bought $1,500 worth of town, cities, castles, all kinds of crap for scenes to set up. And I was like, man, it just seems like it's going to take so long. You heard my stories. Like I've kind of been against it. Like just too much setup, too much time. It's just, you got to spend so much money on it or whatever. Well, a bunch of it came in the mail the other day and we started playing with it. I'm hooked. It's the coolest shit ever.
I knew it.
Awesome, isn't it?
I built a tavern and I've got all the minis, so I put like the bartenders and just everything in it, and I'm like, oh my god, look at this. This is awesome. So yeah, we've been geeking out over the last couple of days in my game room. So
Now, did he get number 1 or number 2?
he bought the half walls. So
The half wall.
because they come with the taller walls and then the smaller walls. But we were looking at some videos of it, and the taller walls are. They say they're a little more immersive, but when you're actually looking at them and watching people play, they're as tall as the minis. So they block and obstruct things until you're like over them. So the half walls, when you look at them, it still gives you that ambience, but you can see into the building from angles where you're sitting much better. So anyway, so he went with the half walls. It was his decision, it was his money, but I probably would have chose the same. I think if I was buying them.
So what you're saying is I could effectively make a tavern out of those miniatures you got, those tiles, and I could do other things with it, not just a tavern. But if I bought just a tavern miniature diorama, I can only play a tavern.
No, so what you do is you buy the village set. So they have the village and then they have the dungeon set. Those are their base sets. And a lot of people typically will buy multiples of those because you can't build a lot with one set. So if you buy the village set, you can in essence build any building you would see in a village because it's like Legos. You just kind of position them how you want. But you need to spend the extra money on the dressings. That's what sort of sets the difference between a blacksmith and a tavern. It's what's on the inside of the building. So you need to kind of buy the bar and the kegs and the tables for the bar, where you could use the same exact building for a blacksmith, but on the inside you need an anvil and a hearth and but in essence, you can shape them how you want or do whatever you want with them. But
so for let's say about 150, maybe 200 the most, you can build any building you'd find in a village, like a tavern in a village, right?
Yeah, you could build a tavern. You could build a tavern with one set.
So
I built a
what about a big hole in the middle of that tavern?
One set.
Could you build a big hole in the middle of that tavern?
Are you trying to build the Yarding Portal? Is that what you're trying to do?
That's a generic tavern. You have to spend the money to get the official Yawning Portal.
The Yarding Portal is a pretty big tavern. You'd probably need a few sets to do it. So yeah.
But you can do other things with those sets that you bought. I just want the Hoffer's husband to know the value and what the Hoffer bought in the Yawning Portal miniature. Thank you.
Yeah.
So the Yawning Portal by itself wasn't the $500 that I spent. The extras that he's talking about, I had to buy the tables, the beer taps, the bar.
The beer taps? Do you really need the beer taps?
Oh, you need the beer taps. and then that's just the settings, and the beds up in the rooms. You have to buy the beds for that to fill out the entire set. And then on top of that, you also need the characters, and they come with the specific characters, and I'd have to pull it up to remember the names of them. But some of them, what's his name that we're playing in Travis's campaign? That's following us around, the noble guy.
I don't remember, but you're putting on my point for tonight. What I wanted to talk about tonight.
But he's one of the sets. And then he comes with a painted of this guy.
Durin.
Yeah, Durin from the barkeeper.
Yeah, he comes in the set with the people. So the $500 that I spent wasn't just on the Yawning Portal, which comes with the portal, and the portal has the infinity mirror. So when you look down into the portal,
right there, that's an infinity mirror too.
Yes, I'm upset that you have it. I wanted to buy it, but by the time I went to go get it off of Think Geek, they were all sold out.
They were bought up by GameStop.
Yeah.
Yeah, he bought the one thing I thought one of the coolest pieces he got was the Wizard's Tower. I don't know if you've seen that.
Fudge.
I want that.
Like
that
Elemental
thing
Tower?
bigger than I ever imagined.
Yeah,
Like,
I went and saw it at our local game shop, and I thought it was gonna be small, right? I thought it was gonna be it's a
Yeah.
$200 figurine, Draco, where you build it like tiles, okay, or it's built like a tile system. But you think of tower, you're thinking like this big, right? It's something big. It's gigantic. The box alone is. I know this is really stupid for me to try to like gauge it with my hands on a camera, but it's got to be at least like 48 inches or something like that, or not 48 inches. It's big, all right?
It's massive. And it's got like 4 levels, which is really bitchin'. And what's cool about it is when you, each layer, you can customize what's on each level of the tower. There's 3 or 4 levels in the tower. And so when the party goes into the tower, you can remove the ceiling, and then you have the inside scene, and the floor can be several different types of flooring, and then it has stairs that go up to the next level. Then you can put the next level on as the party ascends the tower, and each level's got, here's the library with all the books, and it's bitchin'. Like, and the thing I noticed is because the pieces are interchangeable on the inside, you could turn it into a guards tower. Like, it could be a tower in the city that's a guards tower. So it has a couple different purposes that you could use it for, or you make it smaller. It doesn't even need to be like 3 or 4 levels high. It could be 1 level high and just be a circular, guard post outside the town or something.
Now,
So what you're saying is I need to clear out another room so I could specifically have it to build an entire landscape of towns and things and have my own little play area.
The fact that you can put a light up thing in the middle of it, that's a wizard's portal. They actually have a little tile that actually lights up.
Yes.
He found a video of a guy that's like really geeking out on this stuff, these WizKids stuff, and he's got an extremely large room, a game room that's, it's like, Chaz, you see my room, it's my game room here. It's like 3 times the size of it, but he's got it's about the size of Dragon's Lair, the area where they play, the play area where all the tables are set up. That's how big it is. But he's got like 3 tables set up, and 1 table specifically set up for a village or a town, and he's using 7 base sets alone, just the base sets of the village set. He's got other sets on top of that, but he started with 7 base sets, and so that's what Ryan kind of fell in love with, and immediately purchased 6 base sets for the village set because he wants to build something like that. So, but anyways, he's got a ton of stuff coming in. It's still being shipped in. We haven't gotten it all. It's still coming in.
Be single,
I love that.
To be single with no kids, to have full control of your own money.
Yeah, and no bills.
Days.
Yeah,
No
to be
bills.
single with no bills.
No
Right,
bills.
no
Not
bills.
even a car payment. Nothing.
Speaking of ADD and local game shops, real quick, everybody that's listening, please go out to your local game shops and buy local. After COVID first hit, a lot of our places are taking a big hit. People aren't going out there as much. Don't go to Amazon to buy the next expansion or the next book.
Thor.
Hey, I buy both.
Yeah.
I got every collector book. You can't get that on Amazon.
Oh, see,
I'll
it works.
shout out my 3 favorites is Dragon's Lair downtown Austin, and the 2 in Cedar Park is Wonko's Toys and Titan Moon.
Great, we're gonna be swatted now. Watch, we're gonna get swatted now.
Anybody else watching, please comment on your favorite local gaming shop and
kids.
encourage people to shop local.
Yeah, for our
Support
4
businesses.
viewers, right? If you're 4 viewers.
Yeah, our parents. Hey, kids.
We've gotten a couple of
This is
comments
the
on our
Hoffer's
videos.
PSA moment, okay? And knowledge is knowledge is
The more
power.
you know.
The more you know.
And the more you know.
First-
Go, Joe! All right,
Chad.
well, 4. What cool item did you bring for us to look at today? Because you definitely have a lot cooler shit than I do. I just have a stupid arcade and a beholder.
And then all of us.
I got a ton of stuff I can show you.
God
but,
bless it.
I asked you guys if you guys wanted me to bring something more historic or more like ultra rare. You guys wanted to see something more historic. So I got a couple things that I could show you. Okay, I'll start with a quiz. Do you guys know what that is?
Oh God. What was that?
Tarrasque.
Tarrasque. Okay, that's way off.
It looks like a graboid with legs.
It's that thing that gets shot out of
graboid,
guns.
right?
What is it called?
A bullet.
A bullet. No, it's a bullet.
It's a bullet. Okay, so some history about this specifically and this item in general. Boule was in a classification of like the piercer, the mimic, the roper, the rust monster, the mind flayer. What was happening is early days in D&D, things were way out of balance, was way bad in the early versions. And so as players, more and more people were playing and getting used to the game, there were lots of imbalances in D&D. And so they kept trying to come up with ways to balance things. And so for like a mind flayer came out because they realized how powerful mages were. So they wanted to come up with something that would suck the brain out of somebody and suck so they would get stupid. Same thing with like super high level fighters, rust monsters, right? So things like that, they kept trying to counter the imbalances through monsters. So that was their solution early on how to deal with rule problems, like with players and stuff. And specifically what the Boule was, he was invented by a guy named Tim Kask, which was the first employee for Wizards of the Coast. The first guy Gary Gygax hired was Tim Kask to work for his new company. And this monster, Tim Kask came up with the idea for. And the reason why he came up with this idea is back in the day, players would always get dwarven ponies was the hot item because they were the pack mules of carrying stuff. And so they were the ones that carried all the treasure because encumbrance was a big thing early on and everything was based off of coin weight. So, kind of now people don't, oh, you got 2,000 gold. Okay. Yeah, just whatever. Right. It's not really calculated, but back in the day, they were very meticulous about weight. And so parties always had these dwarven ponies with them because they could carry so much weight. So when this guy was invented, Jaws was the hot movie at the time. If you could, it kind of dates this thing, right? 1974, right. 75. They brought this guy out because Jaws was popular and it countered the dwarven pony. So this thing he's a land shark. If you're not familiar with him, he's just like a shark on water, but he's a shark on land. So he's underground. He burrows, comes up and swallows shit. Party members, dwarven ponies, things like that.
I told you that looked like a graboid.
Now this one's kind of a combo of something super rare and historic. This one in particular has got a signature on it. I don't know if you can see it.
You can probably see it all
barely
right.
Make it out.
Yeah.
Look at that. His butthole.
So this was made many, many years ago. And 5 of them were made, and they were made. Tim Kask made them, the guy that invented this creature. What he did, this is one of the 5. What he did was he held a convention about 4 or 5 years ago, tournament, and I was able to get into it where he was DMing. He actually was up in Dallas, and I was able to get in. Well, I got Ryan into it as well, so it's kind of an exclusive club to play with this guy. But I know some people in the old school industry, and I was able to get in and get Ryan in. Well, what he did is at the end of the adventure, he had everybody vote on who was the best player in that session, and my son won it. What? So Ryan was awarded the best player in the session. And so Ryan was given this as a gift, signed from the guy that created this creature, and only 5 of these exist.
Now I'm going to ask you a question. Have you paraded any other trophies from the other 3 kids, or just Ryan? Is Ryan the only trophy you show people? I'm kind of seeing where the favorite is here.
My girls would never get into it. I have 2 girls and 2 boys. They were never interested in D&D. My oldest son, Dylan, he plays once in a while with us, but it's kind of not, he doesn't geek out like Ryan does. Ryan plays all the time. Like it's $1,500 of his money on stuff.
Toys,
So
yes, love the kid.
yeah. Yeah, I couldn't drag my oldest son to a D&D convention. He wouldn't want to go, but he'll play. But it's very casual. He's very casual. Yeah, you guys playing? I'll play. I got nothing going on. So he's kind of like that. So
yeah, Chuck was the first one of my friends to go to a tournament with me, really go with me. The other ones never went. And then Thor showed up at a tournament. So I'm going to say those two are true D&D friends. The other ones, they're kind of casual D&D friends. What do you think, Draco?
Yeah, I'm pretty casual.
Yeah, you're pretty casual.
I don't get how.
Well, see, I used to be really super into D&D, but I don't know. As we got adults, I just got to get super into gaming.
You can say this and you can say that. I've been to the convention with Chaz for the
roleplay rally.
Roleplay rally, and those things are amazing. How anybody would not want to go to a local roleplay rally game is just. If you play D&D, you're going to love Roleplay Rally.
Yeah, there it is.
The amount of fun I had. I went there, and I was telling Chaz, like, okay, I'll go for these things, but at the end of the night, the epic campaign, I've got stuff to do the next day. I don't know if I'm really going to be into it. And he's like, no, you don't understand.
I told Chuck, I go, I'm DMing at this event for 2 days. I get a free pass. He came to me, we worked together, and he was like, I want to create this tavern, this great idea for a tavern. And I said, oh, that's a great idea. We started talking, and I said, you should really come to Roleplay Rally, it should help you out. So he was kind of reluctant and said, okay, I'll go for this and this, and look, I'll drive you. But if I drive you, you're there for 48 hours. Just want you to know that. That's what's happening. He was like, all right, I'll go. And he was really apprehensive because I could have taken him out in the woods and chopped him up in 1,000 pieces, but no. He took the chance. Said, this white guy, he looks dumpy. I could probably beat him up or at least run away from him, which is 100% true. I will go. All right? And we go. And like a kid who's like on the Christmas Story, when they see the Red Ryder BB gun or the Macy's window or Thor at a collectible shop with pewter figurines, his eyes lit up where he saw 100+ people playing D&D at the same time. And he was reluctant about the epic, and then they did a song and dance epic where they had you dancing and singing, and everyone was playing together. And like a dum-dum, Chuck worked on Monday. He was off Saturday and Sunday. We played Saturday and Sunday, 12-hour shifts. And on Monday, he goes, I'm going back to work because I'm a tough guy. And I took Monday off because I'm smart. And on Tuesday when I saw Chuck, I was like, how did Monday go? And he goes, I don't want to talk about it. My brain was mush. Because you do, after like 24 hours of straight D&D, 2 12-hour shifts, your brain is mush. I mean... But
my brain was mush, but that was where at Roleplay Rally I was introduced to the yawning portal, and now I can't shut up about it, and Chaz is like, what?
No, I mean, hey, I'm happy for it. At least one of my friends, decided to come with me, and then lo and behold, Thor's like, oh, great, more of my friends want to go, I'll go again. I'm like, oh, you will, this is great, it's amazing. Then I reached out to my best friend, Draco, and he said, fuck your couch. So I said, okay, well, I guess you just lost stature points. Yeah, all he does is play Call of Duty, and he's not even that good at it. But anyways,
so Chuck, was that your first convention? That epic we went to?
Well, the one that you went to with us, that was my second year.
Your second, okay. Your second.
He was upset about the second one.
Yes, that was.
So if Thor goes, I'll have to go.
Oh, so if Thor goes, like if Thor's on the podcast, I'm gonna watch the podcast. Which I'm gonna tell you is gonna part of my grinding of the gears. You know what? Let's just jump into what grinds my gears.
Grinds my gear.
What grinds my gears? Okay, so
Draco not going with me?
What?
Draco not going with me?
No. I got over that. You're a horrible friend. You're the worst friend ever. You and Lyndon are the worst best friends ever. I just want to throw that out there, okay? So
every year I'm getting the first pick.
Oh, that's fine. Lyndon's a horrible person. I always laugh when bad things happen to him. And TJ, bad things happen to him. I'm not supposed to laugh because I'm told it's rude, but I still do. But anyways.
What grinds your gear?
Oh, what grinds my gears. Okay. So I had this idea of what a great campaign, like what a great module is. And I've played many modules, many video games, watched many movies, and all this stuff. And then, lo and behold, after playing so many times, putting a lot of thought and effort into it, Thor comes in with this Odyssey game, right? And I'm playing it, and I'm liking it. It's a good game. It's a great module. The way it's ran, the way it's written, it's all great. But I did not realize that my party members were so into it until last Thursday, because we play every Thursday night. Take note, everybody, play every week. We played Thursday, and they forgot their notes, and they still remembered everyone's name. They knew what was going on. They were so into it that I was looking up going like, wait a second. Like, you guys actually know the storyline. Because we played Team Annihilation, which is, in my opinion, the absolute best module ever written. They told me I was wrong because they're like, wait, who are we fighting again? Asrarak. Okay, whatever. I'm like, are you serious? They were more upset about these stupid hags than about stopping the Entropole, spoiler alert, stopping the Entropole and stopping Asrarak. They cared more about these stupid hags that did nothing but counterspell them. And I'm sitting here going, like, I had this aha moment. Like, what makes a campaign great? Like, what is it? So it's like what's tickling my fancy is learning, distilling down what are the factors that make a campaign great. And the fact that Thor is a also bad friend, too, because he keeps stealing my thunder. So he's like Chaz 2.0, just a lot better. I'm like the Diet Coke of Chaz. Just one Chaz, not Chaz enough. Thor apparently is a lot better. So that's really bothering me.
Oh, God.
So I will tell you that it's not necessarily Thor's narration or how he's running the game.
I'm gonna say tread lightly here because I'm about to come to your house.
He just picked a really good campaign.
Oh, I understand. I got it. But what segues this to talking is you listen to me rant a little bit. I've been distilling down. That's what's tickling my fancy.
Yeah.
I've been distilling down what makes a great campaign. Like, what is it that makes it great?
It's like, because you're a great DM. I enjoy when you're DMing, and I enjoy when Thor's DMing. But the difference between the two games was that there are a bunch of NPCs.
One had hags and one didn't.
Yeah. There are a bunch of NPCs in Thor's game that actually we get invested in. One of our friends, Jacob, we found out like two sessions ago, he impregnated a god and that they were lovers, and he's invested in this.
Wait, can we rewind here? How did Jake impregnate him? Because Jake, when I play with him, I'm the crazy one. Yeah.
Jake's character.
When a mommy and a daddy love each other very, very much, Draco.
Let's just figure that Jake's character had sex on the game.
Oh, yeah.
In the game.
I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of him. Dude, I gotta call him now. I'm so proud.
Well, the best part was he almost got in a car accident getting home because he found out his lover was about to be killed. And he also let a party members die because of a stupid dragon, which we are now plotting on killing said dragon, throwing it in the ocean, and watching Jacob's tears fill up the ocean. Like, and I feel like a drought will be cured when Jacob finds out we're going to kill his dragon.
He's so invested in this character and his unborn baby that during that session, when he finally made it home, and he's trying to figure out, because half-truths are being told, half the stories from
Thor stirring the pot
are coming out, and he's like, I thought I knew everything, and now I'm finding out
that he was
physically in tears because he was so invested.
And I'm not making fun of him. So no. This is not I'm not fishing for compliments. I truly think this is a great topic. Let's go around the table. What makes a campaign great? Like, what, in your experience, campaign, video games, movies, books? Well, we don't read books except for Thor. Well, I mean, we read manuals, but I mean, let's be honest here. I read my first comic book in a while when I read the Last Ronin. Book 2 came out. So, But let's talk about that. What makes a great campaign?
And that's what it is being invested in the characters, the NPCs. Because for me, that's also people he's invested in. I'm invested in Paylor because
No, Pythor.
Pythor.
Maybe
Sorry,
you look stupid
Paylor.
by saying you remember everyone's name. You call him Paylor.
The one thing, just to piggyback on that, just because I'm on the back end of that DMing it, what set this campaign apart from like all the stuff that TSR pumps out, and I've read all the stuff they're doing, but
behind you or anything.
they hammer hard on the NPCs, and they have these throttle points where when you go to certain areas, they make you, and they don't give you all of the info. There's a lot of prep in this. And so that's why some of this stuff is customized to your specific character when they're doing things or whatever. But they're really good about calling out specific points where they're like, okay, up ahead in this island, they're going to run into these hags. So this is a potential note point that could go plus or minus for them. And so it takes a lot of writing. You have to track everything. But through the adventure, when you go to the city, it'll say, remember, do a role play encounter with Avis, with one of the players or these three players or whatever. And so I have to pull out and go, okay, Avison hasn't had a role play point in a while, in 2 sessions. So, and it's telling me this is key that I do this, because there are things that are happening in this campaign. You guys obviously don't know what's happening, but it is very heavy on the character building. And think of it as like a movie. You go to an action movie, and that's the way a lot of D&D, modules are. It's the Matrix, run through fighting, action, action, action. This is one of those slow burn kind of movies where it's building the characters for 3 episodes until you really relate to the characters. And then all of a sudden, the shit really starts to happen. And you now don't want this NPC to die. Where before it's like, hey, you're fodder, just run down the hall and you can check if there's a trap and you can give a shit. Where you were distraught if, something happens. So to me, that's what stood out. When I was reading through it, I was like, this is brilliant. It's like the way that they spend so much time on history and story and about the Great War and the character building. It's literally living and breathing and playing in a novel like anything I've ever read. And so that's why I wanted to run it, is because it goes so deep into that area, and it has the combat and all that. But that takes a back seat to the story. And so that's what, at least that one, since you guys brought that one up, that's what sets that one apart.
What about
All
you,
right.
Draco? Sorry, Draco. What about you, Draco? What is some like modules, games, whatever it might be? It doesn't have to be just D&D. It could be video games too.
All about like the storyline. So my favorite console was probably the Super Nintendo. And on the Super Nintendo, there was a game. I don't know if you guys ever played it or not. It was called Secret of Mana. Okay? Now, Secret of Mana is based off of it's kind of like a Final Fantasy, but it actually took a whole different role, and it changed a lot of your role-playing games. It was the first co-op game I could play for an RPG. So me and Jake would actually take on 2 characters, and we would go around, and it didn't have like a turn-based type system. I fought a bad guy, and he was fighting back at the exact same time, and Jake's coming around the corner, and we're fighting each other, we're healing each other, and so we got like the bonding going on between family, and then at the same time we're bonding like as a character. And it also had what was like a radio menu. It was like the very first time I've ever seen a radio menu. You know what I'm talking about? Like, you play a game, you hold the button down, pops up a radio.
Now that's a JRPG, right?
Huh?
Secrets of Mana is a JRPG, or is that a tactical one?
No, it's just a regular RPG.
So that's
just
it's a JRPG, right?
Yeah, it's a regular old RPG, and but it changed a lot of the actual industry for gaming, and because they use like a stamina type bar system for fighting. So you had to back up, let your stamina regenerate, and then you got to keep going after them. A lot of games developed after that. And so I remember playing back, whenever I did that, that was one of the most turning points for me for an RPG. But because of the storyline, like, you build onto that character. So like the module that like you're talking about right here, where the fighting takes backseat, but you build up that module, you build up the backstory, and you build up your character. and it's all about character depth and the NPCs. That you get to love the NPCs. So one of them dies, you get upset. You know what I'm saying? You get upset that they die, kind of like Final Fantasy Tactics. You know, because like if y'all all play Final Fantasy Tactics, have you, Thor?
Yeah,
No,
I played Final
he
Fantasy
probably had
Tactics.
kids at that time, and
Right. So like in a Final Fantasy Tactics, right? You have your main character, you have all your characters, right? You can pick anything you want, but you spend so much time developing that character to what you may want it to be, and when he dies, he dies. You can't get him back. So I would constantly reset the game. I'm like, oh, my guy's died. I gotta reset the game because I don't want to lose that guy that you spend so much time building up. So that's why I really want to play your campaign. Like I'm getting jealous because Chaz talks about it on a daily basis, dude. He does. I just can't. I have a hard time doing the online things. I got a 2-year-old constantly running around, and as soon as I pull my laptop out, he just slaps it. I'm like, I can't do this.
Now
Like,
I will
right now, it
say,
has to be-
Draco, the role playing game that I remember you playing is Final Fantasy VII.
No, Final Fantasy VII was the best.
Now
Was the
when it
best,
comes to NPCs dying, I've never seen him more angry in the 20-something years I've seen him from when a character named, what was her name?
Aerith.
Aerith dies in that game.
Oh,
And I don't
God.
care if it's spoilers. If you haven't played by now, it's your problem. But
Yeah, that was the.
so this character died. He actually reset the game because he thought he did something wrong, and he went back and played it again. Have you played
Wow.
Final Fantasy VII, D'Hoffrey and
No.
Thor?
Yeah. I have all the way through. It's a big game.
Yeah, it's a big
Yeah,
game.
it is a big game. Long game.
He did. Draconis did a run through. I think he did a record like 20-something hours.
Yeah, I did it in like 22 hours at the time.
So,
But,
anyways,
First time I played it when Aerith died, I was so upset. I remember taking my controller and smashing it against the wall. And I was just in my bed just sobbing. My mom comes in, what's wrong? I'm like, I'll never play again. I'll never play.
yeah, he actually restarted the game because again he thought there were changes that could be done. Like maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I could have talked to someone else. Maybe this, maybe that.
So I went out and I bought like I didn't have passed where Aerith died at that moment. Like I went out and I bought like all your game magazines because we didn't have Google back then. So I went and got your Game Informers, all your game magazines, the walkthroughs, just to find out how not to let Aerith die. Because if you look into it, like later on in life, she wasn't originally supposed to die. She actually has dialogue that goes past her point of death.
But she does die.
But she does die. They threw that in there.
And you
That's
cried.
like a nice, beautiful twist. So I figured there has to be a way to keep her alive, but there's not. I
From
tried.
a DM standpoint, what got me and is like in Tomb of Annihilation. I love the fact that I had the freedom of creativity because it was very interesting. Like I put a special temple in the mix because the party just needed I guess we needed like more different types of like talking points and like kind of like how untamed this wilderness is and kind of like allude to what was going on with the land itself and how I think Tomb of Annihilation, like Cholt, is the wild, wild west of Faerun because you literally have no centralized government. You know, any faction can do whatever they want there. And I love the fact I actually had them do that, like a special encounter that's nowhere in the book, and I had that freedom of creativity because it's a long gap when you're walking and stuff. And when I look at modules, for example, like convention modules, I love to let players do things that aren't on the character sheet or in the rules. Like if a halfling says, is it possible for me to trip a Hydra? I'm like, not only is it possible, but I'll be pissed off if you don't trip the Hydra because this makes for a great story. Like I do this backflip, this and that, blah, 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 and I rolled high enough for I tripped the Hydra. And I know that people are like, your DM let you do that? And I'm like, well, shouldn't you let them do things like having sex with centaurs? Normally in D&D, no one wants to do that because it's going to end badly for everyone. You know, people watching it, the people involved in it, the people who help you get through what you saw. No one wins, but D'Hoffrey powers through. I like how you...
Pounded it.
Pound it.
And that's the thing, like, that's the module, that's the reason why I like that module so much. So as I'm writing a module, which is super top secret, I can't tell you about because I don't want to steal it because it could be $1 billion idea one day. But Yeah, I'm looking at that. That's what made me happy as a player and as a DM is I distilled down to like two of the main things was freedom of creativity and going off the rails, like not staying in the confines of my character sheet and with the rules. What about you, DeHoffrin? What's something you have?
Uh, uh, what do you mean?
Okay, we've only been talking for like 10 minutes or 20 minutes about that.
No, no,
It's okay. No, it's cool.
have to go towards this, or I didn't know if you were jumping to new thing.
No. I want to hear what you have to say. Like, what's your favorite module? Like, what's something you've played?
Right.
Video game, D&D,
All right.
whatever.
So, spoiler alert, I'm still going to talk about the Odyssey. So anybody who wants to play the Odyssey, which I highly recommend, you might want to fast forward
You can
through
just
this
we'll
little
kick
part.
Jacob out of our group if you want to play. Join our Discord channel and tell Jacob he's done.
But
Out.
what really invested in me was Pythor came onto our ship and he was lowering the ship's morale because he was a bad drunk. And so we had to go down and talk to him and try to get him to stop drinking. And I went down there with Chaz and one of my other players, and we tried to tell him that, you know, if you're going to stay on the ship, you need to stop drinking. And I thought at the end of that conversation that it was in one ear and out the other. 2 episodes later, I get turned to stone, and he gets so upset he's almost in tears that I'm hurt, and carries me back to the ship, takes care of me in my stone form until he can get me back to the mainland and cured. And now I jokingly say I have a new boyfriend, and lo and behold, I find out that I got through to him. He stopped drinking because of something I said, and now that there's this NPC that is invested in me. And it's no longer just this guy that we were carrying along on our ship that was a drunk, but an actual character that I picked up, sort of like on online RPGs where you have the chance to get a companion or something, or in things like Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts, where you gain other people that are part of your story. Is like, I got somebody.
You know why that trigger point happened, right? Do you realize how that all came to be? Why he clinged onto you? He
claimed
he's a god of battle, and he's highly regarded and also feared. Like he's super powerful and just he's the kick-ass guy, right?
Yeah.
And here comes this heroine woman that comes in and says, I'm not putting up with your bullshit and I'm not intimidated. And you're going to clean your shit up. And so he respected that. You put him in his place, and that kind of knocked him and going, wow, she's pretty awesome. I like her. And so that was the trigger point that did that. If you would not have done that, he would not be acting the way that he's acting. That's a taste of why I love this campaign so well, is that your actions have a major impact on what's going on. As you guys are seeing with the dates and the times and where you go, like it is a web of just complexity and super hard to DM, but super crazy. Just, they did an excellent job. So,
and that's what makes it fun, is you run into all these NPCs and I'm playing them as my character, and the choices I make and the things that I say gain me favor towards these people, gets me into them, and in return they're into me. And now I'm more immersed in this world because it's not just going through and talking to this person and running to the next checkpoint. It's I'm dealing and being involved in these people's lives, and they're a part of my life now. And that's the way it is with TV shows, movies, video games, and that's what makes a video game, TV show, or something for me, is if I'm in it and I care about what's happening to the other people in the storyline.
I mean, I don't know how
piggyback
Josie
on
and
that,
the Phantoms plays into that. I mean,
and to piggyback on that, what makes this, like, I think about a lot of what you said, Chaz, about like, whether it's, you're talking about the Tomb of Annihilation, or some of the stuff that they come out with. What makes this really interesting, Odyssey really interesting, is even from a DM point, they have their Discord channel that a bunch of the DMs go in and they share what their parties have been doing. And I mentioned some of this to you guys in our Discord, just the decisions that the parties, the paths that they're going on are so completely different. Like just things that are going on, you're like, holy crap, they did this and this is the repercussions, and they did this and they're all way over here doing this. And so it's almost like one of those games you could play, 5 times or 10 times, and the end result is completely different. And so it's interesting. Anyways, but yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, next time I'm going to talk to that little magic squirrel.
What about you, Thor? What's your number one? Like what is your favorite campaign, game, movie, whatever? Like, and why? Why was it your favorite?
I did a homebrew campaign I DM'd for probably 3 years, and it was the hero's journey sort of tale where they start out in a small town and it kind of evolved over time. And there was a lot of similarities between the home one I did and then the Odyssey, which is why I think I connected with Odyssey so well. But it was exactly what Chuck was saying, is that the characters came to life, and it was fun playing the NPCs, and the players really played on it, and they still talk. Both my sons were in it, and they still talk about these NPCs. They're still in their lives, so to speak. And this was, a few years ago. So the homebrew D&D, it's a D&D campaign that I did, and it lasted for 3 years. I got a poster on the wall where it had ended. It was a 3-year run campaign. At the very end, they had to kill Orcus. That was the end result. And I've got a big poster on the wall of. I'll spin this around a little bit.
Oh shit!
It's a tour of your room.
It's that on the end there is a picture of my son's character Brahm. He's an anti-paladin fighting Orcus, and that's the end battle. Where it was that memorable. We got to end up getting some art done for it. So that was the funnest, I think, most memorable thing
we've been through. You just made three grown-ass men wish that you were their father. Because I know none of our dads would have made a poster of our characters. But shout out Draco did buy me a figurine of my character that's sitting right over here. That way.
I customized it.
But what?
I had to buy it.
You had to?
No, I designed it, then I had to buy it, yes.
Well, he went to Hero Forge, which I know is going to trigger DeHoffrin because DeHoffrin's been banned from that website by his family.
I've got a Pythor
Are you
figurine on hold.
serious?
Hey, well, show it.
That's awesome.
Well, I didn't buy it yet. I designed it and I have it ready. I'm waiting to pull the trigger and get it. And I think I will after the campaign's over as a little memorabilia of the awesome campaign.
Well, see,
and my new boyfriend.
growing up, Chaz, me, Lyndon, and a couple others, we all play the same type of character. So every year I go to design one of the characters, give them to Chaz, so that eventually when he gets really good at painting, he can paint all of our original characters.
He's a couple years off, though. It's been a hot minute since it's happened, but it was a good. It was amazing.
You got two of them. You got Drake. You got Bofo. And you got.
Nope, that's Chris. It. I got Bofo, and Jacob's got his Paladin, which is nothing. Vaughn is his new favorite character.
I already have Draco design. I just gotta pay for it.
No, it's interesting. You guys say it's interesting to hear y'all talk about what constitutes like the reason why. I think what would you distill your homebrew down to, Thor? Like, what were the factors that made it your favorite?
I think it was the interaction with the NPCs. I think a lot of that's awesome. I think a lot of D&D campaigns, they're like, here's a quick overview of what's going on. Here's your mission. and let's hack and slash our way through it. And there's been many memorable fights, don't get me wrong, but and some of them are really cool. But I think the part that brings it to life, or what attaches it to you, is that sort of, it's like a movie, right? You watch a movie really quick, you're like, oh, that was okay or whatever. But the ones that really emotionally invest you are the ones where you like the character, you connect with them, where they spend time character building, not overdoing it, but doing enough of it. And I think that is something that I'm constantly working on, even as a DM, even if it's something done by Wizards of the Coast or my homebrew stuff. I try to always pull time away to character build, to get them connected, because you can make them try to invest in their own character, and I see a lot of DMs that do that, but really what gets them invested in their character is their investment with the NPCs and people around them. That gets them invested in their character, I think, more than just trying to focus so much on their characters. So it's the people around them, the story around them, their story, the people that interact are curious about their story. I think that's what gets them invested in their characters. So that's just that's kind of my take, but you can't do that all the time. You can't just focus on that. People are going to be like Cole and go, okay, my 5-minute clock's off. I'm going to start swinging at something. So you have to have that sort of balance of, let's do a little sprinkle of character building. Okay, let's roll for initiative and let's kill some shit. So you have to have that balance.
It's funny because when it comes to party members, like, I know there's DMs out there who try to regulate what a party can and can't do, and like not letting them kind of go trail off and do their own thing. But it's funny is no matter how many times I try to diverge from that and like find stories based out of modules, because maybe one day, hint, 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 Wizards, I get invited, or maybe I get to go to a panel and talk and stuff like that. I keep thinking to myself, what repertoire of like battles and memorable scenes from modules, and then to pull from my own creation and things like that. I can't find battles out of modules where players, that's a memorable battle like that you guys talk about. Those hags, I made those hags the way they were. In a campaign where I had this one campaign, I was running the module of not Horde of the Dragon Queen, but the Rise of Tiamat. What is that one called? The second one?
Rise of Tiamat.
Yeah, Rise of Tiamat. There was one battle that stuck out with everybody. It was this one chapter where the character's like level 13 or 11, and some cultists attack them. Like, seriously, we're gonna wipe the floor with them. But the players, I let them diverge, and we had some of the most memorable battles. With Tomb Annihilation, again, some of the most memorable battles were outside. Memorable moments were outside of the module. I know with Draco. When you let Draco go, it was so funny. We were doing Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Actually, no, sorry. We were doing Dragon Heist.
Dragon Heist, right.
And that module is so good, but
I like that one a lot.
Letting Draco go and letting the characters kind of do their own thing. Jacob in our campaign was playing a Harper, and Draco was playing a Zent, but no one told anybody Draco didn't tell anybody who he was playing. He didn't say, I'm playing Zent, guys. I'm part of the Zent network. Well, Jacob was announcing to the party all of his Harper plans. And on our phones, Draco was Discord chatting me, I want to mess with those Harper plans, and I'm Zent. So every time Jacob would go out and say, hey, I'm gonna do this as a Harper, then Draco would just sit there and start giggling and start typing me, I want to tell my Zent buddies about this. I break away and send this off. And then like a session later, or like a couple like moments later, I'd tell Jacob, well, unfortunately the house where that informant burnt down. And he messed with him and kind of stopped him from doing what he was supposed to be doing. And then when Jacob found out that Draco was a member of the Zent, the look of betrayal and the look of just sheer anger and betrayal from across the table. He looks up all dramatically, and then Draco just kind of looks up, just giggling like. It's moments like that stick out in my mind. It has nothing to do with the module, but just letting the players go. Like, nowhere in Odyssey does there an excerpt. If a person wants to fuck the centaur, make him roll this. But we have D'Hoffryn to think for now. We have a check roll. Who's going to have sex with a centaur? Because, Draco, you didn't see this because we don't record it because it pisses D'Hoffryn off. But D'Hoffryn wanted a centaur and got like this. You got like the faux centaur, right?
Henry.
Yeah. Henry,
the young guy.
And then, like, muscles, giant beard, hair, Thor. Chris Hemsworth of the Centaurs appears on a lonely island. And they're going to square off in battle. Then Cole says, let me handle this. This centaur becomes best friends, amount to Cole. And I guarantee you, Cole will not even remember he has that thing.
That was pretty funny because when I was reading, I remember when I was reading that island, well before you guys got there, I remember thinking, well, Chuck will get his centaur is the one he wants. And then when you walked up and said, I'll take him, I'm like, okay, it's going to happen. And you pulled out the last minute and said, okay, Frank, you can have it.
I'm
like, he really wanted to fight it. He was really wanting to fight. And I was like, okay, you can have it. I'll let you fight. Had I known.
I had to have my poker face when you said, I'm not going to do it. I was just in my mind, I'm like, oh, you just lost him.
But you let the player do it, which was great. When we died by turning to stone, when Chuck and I died, or excuse me, D'Hoffryn and I died, being turned to stone, you let it happen, and we just sat there as adults, which is going to be really odd for people who know me from my younger days. Like, I would have rage quit or got angry. I just looked at it and laughed and said, I guess I'll make another character.
Yeah,
but
I don't. When I DM, I won't pull punches. I won't. The dice go against you. Sorry, roll up new characters.
Well, according to D'Hoffryn, roll 20s against him.
I always feel that if I pulled too many punches or I made it like I kind of made it, I just don't want you to die, the players will pick up on that and then they'll just go ruthless, right? So you have that fear of at any point they could die has to be there, so the risk reward is there. So I'm just a storyteller. That's all I am. So
all right. Is there anything else we want to talk about, D'Hoffryn? Did we cover all the notes you wanted to talk about?
I think so.
Thor, is there anything else you want to talk about? I think we're reaching about our hour marker.
Nah, we're good. I'm good.
Draco?
I can't wait to play in person. That's it. I'm craving D&D, man. God.
It's going to happen. I mean, we're not going to be stuck in our house. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not an introvert, but COVID has made me really like being an introvert because,
I went to factory last night. There's a bunch of people. I was like, I just want to go home.
Exactly.
I want to go home now.
I'm not introverted. I just, Mark's on camera. You didn't tell him.
I know.
Uh-oh. He might be upset about that one. So anyways, well, let's go ahead and sign off then, everybody. Let's go ahead and start with our guest. Okay, just a wave. That's great. That's how we do it now.
Hi. Bye.
Welcome, kids, to our professional podcast.
Hope you enjoy your time. Stay for the wine.
Okay. All right, D'Hoffryn, go ahead. Show everybody how it's done.
All right, Cher, if you're watching,
get comfortable.
Give me a call. Love to meet you. Need you to slap me in the face. Everybody, watch Julie and the Phantoms on Netflix and the Winx Saga. I really need there to be a second season of both of those. If you don't really want to watch them, just let it play in the background so that it gets the views and walk away. But they're both really, really good.
They already have a second season planned, so you're good for the Winx on that one.
Sweet.
Do you even know what they're talking about, Thor?
No,
do I.
No idea.
My 9-year-old daughter knows what Josie and the Phantoms are. All right, Draco, did you have anything you want to add to sign off?
Yeah, this is Draco, the one and only. My son just came outside, he's staring at the gate, looking at me.
Your 2-year-old?
Yep. Yeah, look, hi. You know, see him?
Uh,
He's like, I found Daddy. So I gotta go, guys. Hey, love you guys. Have fun. Share if you're watching. Please let this guy know, please.
All right. Do you want to add anything, Thor, or just wave is all we're getting? All right.
Wave's good for me.
Well, just remember, folks. Oh, and the bullet. Remember, folks, you just got experience points because the party just gained experience points. And not only NPCs have to worry about catching a knee in the an arrow in. Oh, God bless it. It's done.
blah, 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 blah,
Blah, blah, blah, blah. NPCs are not the only ones who get arrows in the knee. That's what I meant to say.
There you go.
Good night.